What's up, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Slightly Less Than Perfect. Today's going to be a little bit different than normal. We're going to do a react, but not to something specifically, not to a different video, but just a piece of a video, which is going to be a speech or a conversation in Goblin Slayer, which personally I think Goblin Slayer is a great external look at the male experience and how men experience the world. And it's just this one little clip that I want to talk about, and us being three dudes with, similar ways that we grew up, but have different thought processes on different things. I just wanted us to take a look at this conversation and see how we feel about it.
So we're unprepared. He just sprung this on us.
I did just spring it on him. So with that, let's watch this clip and see.
I'm pretending as if I haven't watched Goblin Slayer several times. What's this? What's a goblin?
Don't watch the first episode.
Yeah, try to. Weren't you the one being offered inside by your...
Oh, you did get offered history.
んだよ、お前どうすんだよ。
何かだ。
分かってんだろうが、受付さんだよ、受付さん。他にもエレフだの牧場の子だの神官の子だのに囲まれて。
ゴブリンがいなくなるまでは無理だろう。俺は。
お、出たよ。
ゴブリンか。
ちげえって。子鬼殺しって名乗る奴がどんな過去を背負っているかなんざ察しがつくってもんだ。
そうか。
俺もわからんでもないぜ。
ほう。
つまりだな。つまりやっぱ男なら一国一城の主って思うだろ
う。おうねえ。いいじゃねえか。遣唐使から王になった傭兵の話とか聞いたことあるぜ。
けどな、俺には学がねえんだよ。
勉強すればいい。金もある。頭も悪くはあるまい。
ところが時間もないんだ。王になってから勉強したんじゃ王がバカなわけで、民草ってのに迷惑だろ。
ああ。
けど今から勉強を始めると冒険に出られなくて、やっぱりパーティーのやつらに迷惑だ。
なるほど。難しいな。
ああ、難しい。とはいえそうつまらんわけでもない。
騎士様もついてきてくれるし。
うるせえ。
悪いことでもあるまい。悪いことではないはずだ。
まあな。
これだから余裕のある奴らはいいよな。
お前はがっつきすぎなんだよ。
バカ野郎。男に生まれたからには美女と最強を目指さないで何目指すってんだ。最強になりゃ女にモテて感謝もされて世の中のためになって俺は強くなれる。悪いことなしだ。
モテてるのか。
モテてんだよ。
そうは見えん。
うっせえ。でどうなんだゴブリンスレイヤー。お前のガキの頃の夢ってのは。
俺か。そうだな。俺は冒険者になりたかった。
なってんじゃねえかも
う。いや難しいな。
難しいか。
ああ、簡単にはいかん。
やりたいこととやらなきゃならんこととできることは違うな。
嫌になっちまうよな。
なりたかった。勇者になりたかった。王者になりたかった。歴史になりたかった。伝説になりたかった。伝説の武具を手に入れて姫を助け竜と戦い世界を救いたかった。
鍛えに鍛えた武を振るい歯を唱え後世に語り継がれる強者になりたかった。
だが気づいちまった。俺にはそんな物語は与えられないのだと。
今の地位にいることの自覚はある。それを大したことがないだとかは決して思わない。
けれどだ。
だからまあせめてやりたいことをやらせてやりたいものだ。
I find that is half of a very, very poignant point. And the other half of what they just said, I think you can look at the character Hero and see the other half. What they're saying that they can't do, that's what Hero is doing effortlessly just from having been born great. Whereas those three men, they're still working to achieve greatness.
Right. Well, I mean, that's why I wanted to talk about it, because I'm like, those three dudes, right? They each had three different circumstances that they were born into, but they all have like the simplistic goal of like wanting to be something, right? Wanting to dream. They all had this, essentially what they said is they all had this dream of being a hero, but then they all collectively came to the same conclusion that they're not the hero from different aspects, but then they also understood that like growing up is realizing that even if you're not the hero, there are still things that only you can do and things that you need to do to make like the small parts good to keep for the bigger whole.
And then to also help those along the way to become what they want to be.
Right.
You almost forgot about that. Right?
Well, no, I mean, because that's the rest of it, right? Because I
Yeah.
mean, like that's the stuff that like echoes up to the hero. Like these heroes are born great. You know, these certain people, individuals are born with a little extra, a little whatever, especially in like worlds like this, right? Like you're born with the highest stats or whatever, and you get put into these roles. And it's like, I appreciate stuff like this because it gives like people an honest look at like real life, right? Like everyone's not going to be the main character. Everyone's not going to be Jordan or LeBron or Messi, Ronaldo. Like you're not going to be the president all the time, but like that doesn't mean that like you're not as important or like the things that you do things for are important.
I wasn't liking about some of the anime nowadays. It's because their main goal is to show you someone who's super crazy overpowered.
Yeah.
Which is why I like the ones lately where it's like more of a gag thing, or they're just not aware of it. You know what I'm saying? Like I was saying with the healer is, you know, begins his new life. He's not aware of how great he is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't make them conceited.
You know what I think this is? I think this is the natural evolution of the old trope of like all the old heads in animes that were like perverts but had all this information, but they didn't directly give this information out to like the people that they were training. I think this is the modern way of doing this. Like you have an overpowered character that you know can do pretty much anything you need to do in your verse, but you nerf them by having them either like be a simpleton in some type of way, or you just make them an average person and don't put them in like these supernatural situations where they use their overpoweredness just to live like everyday life. And it puts them in unique situations too, because like if they don't want to be by anybody or like be secretive about their abilities, then they have to go about it a different way. Yeah. And it just makes it more interesting.
Yeah, and some context for the episode too. The name of the episode is Training Ground at the outskirts or something.
At the outskirts.
And in the episode, currently they're making a training ground for new adventurers because they found that just a little bit of training for new adventurers drastically increases their survival
life
rate.
Expectancy, yeah.
And Goblin Slayer, Spearman, and Heavy Warrior, those three guys we saw there, they were teachers. Well, they've been hired as part-time teachers of those new adventurers. Of course, Spearman is teaching combat, Heavy Warrior is teaching being a really big guy, and Goblin Slayer is teaching killing children. Sized monsters. So they each have very important things to teach to those adventurers in the hopes that they survive and become the sort of greats that Goblin Slayer and then we're just talking about themselves not feeling like, which is a little unfair to themselves, I think.
Yeah, but I think too, like I want to say, like looking at like everything from the male perspective, I think it's this fact that like they underestimate like their own feats.
Yes.
And I think it's in a way to like, in one way to keep themselves humble and to be an adventurer, right? Like you can't have a big head as an adventurer. You have to stay humble. So the fact that you understand life and death can happen at any moment. But also with them specifically, I think they really need to give themselves a little more credit.
I feel like also it's hard to give yourself that much credit when there are people
who are literal heroes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which is why I'm like, I feel like they're not really underselling themselves, because I mean, like that's like going out and say me and you started to become pirates in the One Piece verse. That would be like us going, we're not great pirates because we're comparing ourselves to Luffy. How long ago did he start sailing? Like a year? Right? You know what I'm saying? We're not beaten warlords. We've been sailing for how many years? You know what I'm saying? So like for me, I feel like in a world like that.
Yeah, it's a real.
Put it into realistic comparison to another world where there's big leagues out there like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're comparing themselves. Yeah, well, they're comparing themselves to an emperor. You're not him. You're not him.
Not him. Not him.
And you know what I'm saying? Like, so even if your feats are great, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, overall though, comparatively.
But I like that Goblin Slayer realizes, like, I hate to say it, but he realizes that like he's the cleanup man.
Yeah.
But he also understands that like the cleanup man is important. And the fact that, like, that's what season 1 was all about. Like, season 1, the culminate, the final battle was the fact that, like, everyone realized that, like, oh, Goblin Slayer, what you do is so vital to society.
So vital. Because if you weren't killing these goblins, we'd have more of these goblin kings.
And this is a problem.
And that goblin king
was a problem.
Was a problem. They needed help.
Do you know goblins have a 3-day... They're born in 3 days.
That makes things make sense.
3 days.
Yeah, so saying like,
and they mature in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so it's like
2 week turnaround.
Yeah, so like you know what I mean, like But I like that because like it builds up on the world from a different perspective than watching. Yes. Like I said, that's what I'm saying. Like I only say slime because it's just one of the big ones that I can think of. You know what I mean? But like,
and it's the same type of world.
Yeah, you're not seeing the small things that happen that keep the world going.
No, you're seeing all the political. You're seeing all the big movements happen, about the little things
like,
that lead up to this.
The one thing, like the one show that I wanted to see more of, and there was only ever one season, was the Grimoire Fantasy and Ash.
Oh, okay. Grimgar,
that's what it was. Yeah, okay. I thought it was Grimoire, but I knew something like that. Yeah, remember, terrible names.
Yeah.
But if I could have seen more of that, I would have been so happy. Like them.
That was a dark one.
Yeah, but like them being able to like talk about the fact that like the one guy who was originally in it, and then you want me to just
keep going, I got it.
Okay. I'm trying to be nice. I was like we can snap and snap. No. Okay. Okay, but in Grimoire Fantasy and Ash, when they were talking and they were like talking about like how the party format was and how the one priest kid was doing all of that. Because they were like, he's the healer. He's the strategic. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was doing all that, and then he ended up, you know, passing, and then they all had to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like being able to see worlds where things are happening that is magical, but you're able to get that broader scope of the world instead of, I fight monster, I kill monster, it was quick and easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a lot of shows for me are missing that because they're just showing you fight the ultimates and then beat the ultimates. It's like, you know, where there's no like I get the world still builds, but it's so rapid for me that I'm just like,
You know, not to take anything away from the writing of Goblin Slayer, but they had a really good framework in just D&D rules, because D&D rules comes with so many restrictions, especially like just like spell slots, and I can do spell once a day.
Yeah, or 2 times a day, 3 times a day, whatever it is.
And with that, it turns like the adventures that Goblin Slayer goes into like a puzzle that they have to solve every time, and them solving that puzzle tends to be just great writing right there.
Specifically about that point, as I love, like, it's always at a point where it's always at a point where like they do their first objective and they get into like a room or something wherever they rest for like a second, and they have they do a count where they'll say like, I got this one, and you see Goblin Slayer over there like, all right, so he got this one. You see him moving the pieces around, and they're like, what you got? He's like, I got a plan. And they're like, but no floods, no blowing shit up, and no, what's the other one? It's another one they always say too to him.
Okay, first it was poison, right?
The poison. It was the poison, the flood, and no blowing shit up. And he's just like, well, all right, give me another 30.
Fire.
That's what it was. It wasn't blood stuff, it was the fire.
Now it's explosions though.
And then he's like, all right, well, give me another minute or 2. Okay, we're good now. That is like my favorite part, because like I love the realistic of it, and like I always go back to Hunter x Hunter on this point, where right before they go into that Chimera Ant hideout, Killua says that being an assassin, no matter how often and how good you make a plan, at some point something's going to fuck up, and it's how you adjust from that. It's how things happen, and I love how Goblin Slayer, and every time their perfect plan, it always goes perfectly. But something else pops up, shows up, trips up, something happens, and then they get in a situation where they get to that room part where we were just talking about, where like the true magic of Goblin Slayer, I think, really shines in that.
That's a really important part of writing that a lot of modern curb stomp animes is what I call them. They don't do.
Yeah.
Where everything just goes like Yagami according to plan.
Yeah.
Nothing unexpected happens.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I like Jobless so much, because that.
Oh yeah.
That was.
What you say about manga?
I'm so glad.
Run it back.
That was
Back.
crazy. Like reading the episode name and seeing that it said Turning Point Part 1, I went, what could possibly happen? Oh.
Everything could happen, Chris.
Okay. And then I watched the next episode and I'm like, this is not Turning Point Part 2. Where could that be? 6-7 episodes later, you get Turning Point Part 2 and you're like, well, what's happening here? And then it starts off in the most off-the-wall thing. Oh, look at those dragons. That dragon just stopped and breathed on that guy. It didn't do anything.
And then what does this guy do? He one-shots a dragon and then walks away. And walks away from one-shotting a dragon.
Yeah, I want to take Jobless Reincarnation and Re:Zero and say that of all the... They were the first ones, you know. That's your Evangelion and your Razafan, right?
They started the genre.
They started the genre. They knew how to write so that even a character who could literally come back from death and retry as many times as he wants, shit still doesn't go right every time.
Every time.
I couldn't believe, dude.
The rabbits. The one, that's the one that one
rabbits.
will always get me. I went, what?
The one where, you know, Emilia just breaks down. Just fucking mental breakdown. He comes back and goes like, all right, you know, Emilia, I got that part for you. I got that part for you. And she's like, what? No, I'm going to do that. I don't need your help with that. And then she breaks down again when she actually gets there. And dude, Natsuki is just like, holy shit, I can't actually tell this bitch anything. She won't listen. Forgive the B word.
And it's great. It's great.
Oh.
It's so natural, too.
Yes.
That is exactly what you would do if someone just came up and told you, you can't do it, but don't worry, I got it for you. Like, the fuck? Who do you think you are, bro? Like, yo, we friends, man. But we ain't that friendly. And then... mind break. Oh, fuck, he was right.
I can't do it. Oh, my God.
Damn. Oh.
Yeah, but it's just something special about the practicality and the realism in Goblin Slayer that makes it hit closer to home.
Even when he pulls out some straight up Dark Soul shit,
yeah.
I saw you do one of those plans to that dragon, Mark.
Like when I saw him,
I'll just shoot an arrow and run away till he drops aggro. Like, bro, I saw Mark do that. I do that.
When I started watching Goblin Slayer, after you get past, you know, the crazy first episode,
I just say just start with episode 2, bro. Because I'm like, in all honesty,
if you
like,
can't handle episode 1,
it's nothing in episode 1 that you need to go forward.
Yeah, because it flashes back, you know, so you'll understand what happened.
But I mean, like, them talking about it gives you all the context you need.
I feel like episode 1 is like a stress test for the viewer. More of that is going to be happening, and if it's not your shtick, you should just stop at episode 1.
In my opinion, though, like, nothing is as aggressive as episode 1.
I agree.
Like, things are bad, but like things never get as bad as they do in that first episode.
You were actually the one experiencing it in episode 1, but in all the other episodes, it's already happened.
Yeah, and you're either helping someone or clean up or trying to get there before it happens.
But I think it was trying to show, obviously, the intensity of goblins and why.
Well, I think it was more so showing goblins Goblin Slayer's backstory.
Yeah.
I think that was the.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, but I mean, like, to give the purpose,
Right,
like, he's doing this because this happened.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I agree with
Yeah,
that. Like,
yeah.
it serves a purpose in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But I think, to be personally,
it could have been done to the degree that you see in any other episode, and it still would have still sold
think if
off.
you didn't.
I'm glad they didn't do it in the other episodes.
Yeah.
That would have cheapened.
Right.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Right.
Like,
But what I'm saying is,
yeah.
like, if you take it out of the first episode, but if you. The facial expressions that the women make and, like, the context and everything, I think it would do better for the mind if you didn't see it.
About the way you just pronounced that, but I'm not going to draw too much attention to it, except for the fact that I totally just did. But now everyone's rewinding, Mark. I'm gonna have to do something about that.
Welcome back.
Can you do a favor for me, Mark? Can you just say the word context, and I'm gonna cut it from there and.
Context.
It kind of sounded like it again, didn't it?
What?
All right. I'm sorry. Nothing. No what? Okay, and then we zoop back in.
Set up.
Zoop. Okay, continue.
Welcome back.
Continue. What? Continue. What? What's the matter? You suddenly can't speak?
Trying to see you next Thursday.
4?
Well, it's Wednesday. What are you talking about? It's Wednesday. We meet on every Wednesday. This guy is being super crazy. I can't understand it.
But it's like, what? So I guess the question is...
Niggerant.
What version of the hero do you align with out there? Do you align more with Goblin Slayer's version of the hero, Spearman's, or was it Heavy Guard?
Heavy Swordsman.
Heavy Swordsman. Heavy Swordsman.
Guts.
Because, I mean, like, at the end of the day, these are just 3 bros that had a drink and were thinking about the past, present, and future, their place in the world, and what they can do to ensure that, like, everyone's happiness that comes after them can succeed, but what they can do to try to maintain the happiness that they achieved with the perceived little that they've done for the world. And I think that's just I think it's an interesting male perspective in the anime that can be translated to real life very well. And it's something that needs to be, like, talking about more. Like, I appreciate more anime going forward that are talking about men's mental health in a positive way and bringing, like, the men having, like, normal, simple conversations that aren't just, like, big titty bitches in sports.
I mean, he was mentioning.
He did.
Okay, yeah, that is his whole thing.
That is his whole thing. But also, his boys told him to shut the fuck up, and that's not all it is.
And kicked him in the leg.
Well, he kicked him in the leg because he was talking about his big titty bitch.
True.
He technically doesn't have one, but he is a big titty bitch. Goblin Slayer had 3 big titty bitches. You know, it's just he had that jealousy.
Oh no, wait, he had 2 big. Okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I forgot about those.
You think about the whole, you know, you got one with the bees. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, that's
Well, technically 3 because you got the farm girl.
That is the
farm girl,
smallest
the priestess,
I've ever seen.
the holy maiden.
Yeah, the holy maiden. That was the third one I was talking about.
Yeah.
Was the main maiden.
I mean, kind of the elf, the archer too.
Yeah, but she's not big.
I know, no, she's not.
Yeah,
that's what I think that's what Ryan was saying. You were adding,
see, I was going towards the.
Saying, you know, with one of those characters, there's a huge age gap. You don't want to be caught, you know, doing anything weird. Just saying, it'd be really messed up if you had any sort of relationship with the elf archer.
I mean, she's
huge
like 8 years old.
Oh, okay. Okay, see, no, I thought he was talking about the mother maiden.
Don't say it. There we go.
All right. Well, to end the video, I got one last question. Favorite characters from Goblin Slayer?
There's lots to choose from, man.
Damn. It's actually hard. It's between
Right.
Like I think it's the Lizard Man for me.
That's a good one.
Like I think he actually because it was between him. Like I do like the dwarf. Like
Dwarf is a good one.
Yeah, I like him. Like it's between those 2 for me, but I think the Lizard Man wins out.
That's fair. I enjoy the Lizard Man. His love of
cheese.
His love of cheese, bro. You know how like you see somebody that is so happy doing something they love, and it just makes you happy. Every time I see him with cheese, it just brings me joy. Because I'm like, you are so excited about this cheese, bro.
But like he had his little skeleton soldier wars, and then like he's made
broken.
Yeah, but then he's also
he's very
but then he also like talked like about like with the like he talked about the future with the elf girl, and he was like, well, since me and you are still going to be around when I come back as a dragon and you're still in, I was like, yo, this man, like he's like over there, like they'll be long dead. So let's just talk about the future when we'll be alive still.
He's like, because, are we still going to be homies?
Yeah. And then she was like, and he was like, great, cool. And I was like, they're still right there.
But I mean, like, but that's something that, like, I think Freerun does a very good job of this too, though, is showing people that will live a long life or have lived a long life. I think Goblin Slayer does a good job of that too. Because little conversation like that. It's like, yeah, bro, 500 years, I'm going to be a dragon. You probably still going to be shooting people in the woods.
Yeah.
You still want to grab a drink every now and then.
Yeah, I was like, crazy.
Every third winter, come by, bro.
All right, just don't wait 50 years. Just don't wait 50 years.
Should I say you, Freedom? Should I say you, Freedom?
It's a long damn time.
Wow, for the humans.
My favorite character dynamic is Goblin Slayer and Elf Archer. Because I like the fact that they have... Their ideas about adventure is so different. Because Goblin Slayer is like a garbage man. And she's idealistic. She just wants to have fun with it all. And Goblin Slayer's adventures are so not fun.
He's like, we're here to kill goblins.
Like, we're here to scrub toilets.
We're here to kill goblins.
We're
what about the baby goblins?
Shit.
You definitely them.
You gotta kill the baby goblins. Because if you don't kill the baby goblins, they come back for... And then that I laughed about that part because I had watched that Harley Quinn episode where she was like, did you end the bloodline? Because if you don't end the bloodline... somebody's gonna come back. That's all I was thinking in my head.
It's true though. It's just true. When it comes to goblins, they all gotta go.
And she gets like personally insulted by Goblin Slayer's idea of adventures being just basically like cleaning the shit out of the world. Shoveling
it's
shit.
a great dynamic because it shows you classism, right? Because Goblin Slayer was like really just a farm dude, and she's from nobility. She's from elf nobility. Yep. So like has the room to be idealistical and like everything is whimsical and great. And he's like,
and the skills.
She
got unnaturally good skills. Like,
cause she's a noble archer. She was born a hero.
I was gonna say also she can his whole life to be able to train shooting bows, and then some probably.
Well, a couple lifetimes.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about? Well, yeah, I mean, because, goblins are out there, so obviously it's a couple of lifetimes. Was it natural age 20? 22?
You're right. You're right. Oh, man. But I like, too, how Goblin Slayer himself, too, as trying to be a nobody and trying to be as invisible as possible, like, he does the exact opposite. And I think that's for me it is Goblin Slayer. It's either Goblin Slayer, Lizard Man was my second one. But I think it's Goblin Slayer because of Guts. He has the same vibe, like he's like, I understand how fucked up the world is. And I understand that I am doing some of the fucked up things. But like he said in the clip we watched, like he wants the people that he cares about to not have to worry about any of this shit that he's doing and actually be able to live their life to do whatever. And like I appreciate too, like we talked about like the context for like the clip, and before that when they were doing the training, Goblin Slayer was teaching these kids like practical skills on like what anyone can do. Like cool. Spearman was teaching them like how to use a spear, and Bowman was teaching them how to be a big nigga. But it's like, if you're not a big nigga, you know how to use a spear, what can you do? And Goblin Slayer's like, here's a sack and here's a rock. Learn how to use this rock and throw it at that post. If you can do that,
there you go.
You at least got a level 1 weapon and you can survive. Yeah. And I like the practicality that's essentially Goblin Slayer saying like, I love you, bro. Like him teaching you like a skill that can save your life. It's his
Yeah.
His love language.
Yeah.
Like, that's his way of
Yeah.
telling, like, I care about you and I want you to survive.
I want
I gotta
you
go
to-
murder
yeah.
a million goblins, but, like, if something happens and I can't get to you, if I teach you this,
Yeah.
this is me saying,
This,
that,
this
like,
is probably gonna help you one day.
right.
Yeah,
You know? It's like hand boning.
Teaching his backline how.
Hand boning's gonna save your life one day. Get it?
That's gonna be in our our history.
And specifically, you know, he went to go teach the backline fighters how to
Yeah.
survive. That
Yeah.
it says something about his
Mhm.
priorities, right?
He was like, "Hey, you got magic. That's cool. What you gonna do when you at MP?"
What do you mean, Ryan? That just shows that he knows what goblins will do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And goblins will
Yeah.
attack
Yes.
you from behind. He's
Yeah.
like,
It's like-
hey, if you run out of mana, that don't mean you out of options.
Yeah.
Protect my backline.
Back to free, huh? Back to free, huh?
Well, do you know who my favorite character for free rent is? When you have a mage that literally looks you in your eyes and says, I'm out of mana, but I'm not out of options, that terrifies me more than the magic spells that he would have cast. Because it's like, what has this man seen?
Yep.
What has he been through?
He said,
The
"Nah,
fact
it's
that,
cool."
like, he is so confident
Yep.
in his abilities without his magic.
That I'm gonna still run you this fade. Yeah, that was.
We
insane.
still gonna run the ones. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying he's not a young buck.
And it was crazy. That's
This
what was
is an
crazy.
elder
Yeah.
gentleman,
He said, "Nah."
a distinguished gentleman that is like, that's essentially him taking off his glove and slapping you with it. Like,
What
he,
character said that?
Dinkle,
Was it the hero?
Dankin.
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 I just called him Dinkle because I was like Dinkleberg. Dinkleberg.
You said it and it messed up my pronunciation, so I had to pause. Dankin.
Okay.
Remember, I told you, I go
Oh, yeah.
names. Talked about this.
And like he's another character I think that is a great definition, experience, written character of like the male experience from like an old head's point of view. Like he is a loving husband, like to a fault.
Yep.
And it's like that his character is like his character is beautiful. Like the next, I don't know if it'll be season 2 of the anime that'll hit his backstory, or maybe season 3, but like I hope they get to it because his whole story arc is exploring his characters. Like I understand why he was out of mana, but he wasn't out of options. Like he that man's different. But back to Goblin Slayer. Goblin Slayer is my favorite character in Goblin Slayer. But with Lizard Man being 2, I will say this though. Priestess is probably my favorite up and coming character because she has made, in my opinion, like far as a character making progress from being a baby back bitch to actually becoming him. I think she is making like leaps and bounds, like season to season.
Becoming her. Yes. She is becoming her. She
From
will
baby
be
back
her.
bitch to just that bitch.
Yeah, I mean, she could be a HBIC for sure, though. I mean, she for sure. She's going towards it. And I like the fact that, like, she understands. She doesn't necessarily agree with some of the things that Goblin Slayer does, but she understands that, like, some stuff just has to happen for...
It must be done.
It must be done, yes. And I really like the fact in season 2 where, like, she had, like, that, she had to reaffirm her faith. And like I like that because they don't really, from what I've seen, they never really explore that with like religious characters. And I feel like reaffirming your faith is like the same as like when Luffy said, "I'm weak" after Ace passed.
Go ahead and add Vox and Machina to your list.
And that reaffirming, there's
No,
some
I'm
context.
just letting you know. Because they're one of the characters. Like, because remember I told you they're all just a bunch of idiots and a bunch of drunkards. One of them is a priest. She's not able to use her magic.
Oh,
And she must leave the party to go figure out why her faith isn't working.
Cool. And about Priestess having to reaffirm her faith, there's actually a really cool reason for that. In one of the episodes where they were fighting, I think it wasn't the Paladin, that was in the movie.
it was
They
a
were-
goblin wizard or something. It was a mage. It was some
Was it a
type of
cleric or
The shaman?
shaman? or
shaman.
something?
They were some type of magical based goblin.
Yeah. And she turned his blood to water.
Yeah.
She used purify. She didn't mean to, but in the manga, you can see what her thoughts were at the time, and she was so disgusted by goblins at the time that she thought of its blood, even its blood was filthy. And she, without thinking about it, she used purification because it disgusted her so much, and it turned the blood to water. But the thing is,
Oh, because they were trying to do that summoning
Yeah.
They're trying to do the summoning with the blood. Okay.
The thing is, she's supposed to be a pacifist. That's the vow she took as a priestess
Right.
of the Earth Mother. And when she did that, God spoke to her. And you
It
actually
said
see
no,
it.
yeah.
Yes. God said, never use my miracle for this again. And you saw a priestess. She was literally struck by that revelation. And you could just see just horror on priestess's face as God basically spanked her hand. And that damaged her literal faith. And later, her party members had to like explain to her that, you know, God disagreed, yeah, but God
Did not
also,
abandon you.
Yeah, God also answered your prayer, did the miracle for you,
And then said no.
and then said, "Don't do that again. I'll allow this now. Just don't do it again."
I remember that part because then she the light bulb switch went off her hand. She was like, actually.
Yeah. So it was actually really cool. It was.
But I was saying, it's never
Very
explored. Like that
Yeah,
is
they
never
didn't
explored.
explore
Like
it.
it was my first experience, like seeing a religious character go through like that trial of faith. And it's like I loved her character. I like her character so much more because of that little mini arc. Like it shot her.
You didn't watch Blue Exorcism.
Yeah, so like I didn't see a priestess
Moving on.
character being that interesting, but and I like the fact that she admires Goblin Slayer and the fact that like his ability to do what needs to be done and like how he stays cool and calm. Like I like how she picks the things that she likes about him and like wants to be a better person, but in her own way. She's not like picking up a knife and whatever. Like she's still being a priestess about it. I'm like, I really enjoy her character.
Yeah. I like when she sandwiched them between the barriers.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like she wouldn't have did that if she didn't meet Goblin Slayer.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm
Not
saying.
sure
Like
that's a good or
I
bad.
I
mean, she
really
didn't
like
technically
when
kill
characters
him, so,
that spend a
like-
lot of time with each other take on traits from other people, and like you can see it in their character arcs.
That's good writing.
It is. It's just really good writing because I mean, like it shit just happens, and I'm like, she is one of my she's my in a sense she's my third one because Lizard Man is just nonchalant
Yeah.
life. Him just existing is just
Yeah, he's
it's-
like
it's-
I'm a powerhouse, and that's cool.
But I can also do magic, and I'm also going to turn into a dragon one day.
Yes. They call him
Yeah,
It should be cleric.
Give me the cheese.
It should be lizard cleric, but he doesn't actually use it to attack. He attacks himself. That's weird. It's weird. I've seen a video.
He's all buff magic for the most part. Like his actual like spells,
Yep.
besides the summoning, the dragon summon or whatever.
Basically, he's like a cleric of the Crucible. If were
beast
Elden
magic?
Ring. Yeah, just like a.
I mean,
Yeah.
it tracks. So yeah, that's Goblin Slayer, or that's the interpretation of the male experience from us based on Goblin Slayer.
Yes.
That's the name of the episode. It's not, but I mean, like, that's the gist of what's going on. So that, you better stay warm and pillow stay cold.
This one's gonna take a lot of editing. I'm gonna have to get that picture of what's her name getting her hand spanked by God and put it up there. All right, stay perfect, chat.
One time for the one time. Get spanked by God.
No, really, it really is like she got her hand spanked by God. Like God spanked her on the wrist. It's like,
It's like,
bad.
Hey, bad. Don't go turn people's hands into blood into water. All right.
I wonder if I can
I'm gonna
find that.
go to the bathroom real quick.